Hello, my dear professionals. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are discussing who should not opt for HR career. Now, by this video, I do not mean that if you currently do not have these skills, then you can never have a successful HR career. No, that's not something I'm propagating. I am a firm believer that with sheer dedication and hard work, you can change anything. But if you are not sure of putting that hard work and determination in the points that I'm just going to discuss with you all, then I think it's good for you that you invest your time efforts into something else, because it's important to have these skills, these prerequisites to be a successful HR professional. So with that understanding, let's get started. Point number one, and a very important one: if you dislike dealing with people in general, then HR is probably not a career choice for you, because HR is all about talking to people, dealing with them, dealing with their issues, or dealing with their progress. It's all about people. So do not judge here yourself that if you are an introvert, then you will not make a successful HR, or if you do not like talking in general settings, like talking to your relatives or in a big group, then you dislike dealing with people. No, it does not mean that. Those are totally different things, because when you are in a job in HR, it is only about work. You are not going to discuss your personal life with somebody, which will make you feel uncomfortable. It's purely job. It's only related to job or work that you'll have conversations with employees. Obviously, if you vibe with someone and you are friends with any employees, you can go ahead and have conversations on any topic, but in general, those conversations will be very limited to work. So you have to evaluate yourself very well, deeply, before you come to any conclusion on this point. Point number two: lack of empathy. If you are not capable of hearing somebody's sad story, and when somebody comes to you with their problems in general, also in life, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, it's not my problem, why is this person even telling me the whole thing, I'm not interested. So if you have that kind of personality, then there's nothing wrong in having that kind of personality. I mean, it's everybody's choice how they want to deal with situations. But if you are someone like that, then HR might not be a good career choice for you, because in HR on daily basis, you will have to hear those stories, scenarios, situations, and not only hear, you have to make conclusions out of it. You have to design strategies basis that, because those talks, those conversations might indicate towards something which is creating an unhealthy space for employees. So you really have to dig deeper into those conversations and then design your policies accordingly. So think through it. If you never ever was capable of putting yourself into someone else's shoe, and you just dislike being into those kind of situations or imagining them, then HR might not be for you. Point number three: poor communication skills. Now, here, with poor communication skills, I do not mean poor English skills. See, an effective communication is something beyond just pure English. You should be able to clearly communicate what you are trying to say or what you intend to say. Your words should always vibe with your intention, because if you are someone who is trying to say something but always end up saying something else, then it can ruin your whole HR career, because HR is all about conversations. We do not write codes. The conversation itself are kind of codes for us. So if the conversations are not done properly, the outcome can be really screwed up. So if you struggle with communication, plus you do not have any intention to improve it or put efforts towards improving it, then you might want to look for something else. Moving on to our next point, which is unwillingness to deal with difficult situations, or unwillingness to have difficult conversations. Now, you can be a person in your life who just escapes from difficult conversations or difficult scenarios, and rather than sorting it out by going through it, you prefer to escape from it as a solution, which can be totally the case in some scenarios. But if your personality is all about escaping from difficult conversations because you just do not like them, then HR is for sure not for you, because in HR you need to go through those tough conversations in order to do your job. Company might be laying off, and you might have to fire a star employee just because her CTC is really high and company cannot afford that person any longer. It's not his or her mistake, but you still have to convey this message to that person. There can be an employee who's struggling already financially and you know it very well, but you have to give that person the sad news. And not only about layoffs, it can be about the performance as well. It can be about anything. So dealing with difficult situations and having those difficult conversations is a part of being a HR. Moving to our next point, which is inability to resolve conflicts. HR on their day-to-day basis, if are dealing with employee grievances or things around that, then their day-to-day job also involves resolving conflicts between the employees. And if they are handling a big employee base, then every now and then there is one conflict. Some conflicts will be very visible, where you can figure out the evidence and you can clearly see through who's the culprit, and then you can directly convey the message. But most of the time, the conflicts are not very evident. They are very subtle, and you have to do a lot of work around that to figure out who's wrong, and then you have to solve those conflicts accordingly. So if in general in your life, if you do not like dealing with conflicts and you just find yourself miserable while trying to solve a conflict, then HR is certainly not for you. Moving on to our next point, which is lack of organization. Now, HR handles a lot of data and it involves very sensitive data. So the person needs to be very organized, because HR also has to be very compliant with laws and regulations, how you set things up, how you store the information, and the policies that you build. So it's very important for you to have that organizational skill, not in terms of like the structure of the organization, but the usual organization of your task or of your responsibilities, how you handle your data and all of that stuff. Everything should be neat and clean and should be in order for it to be effective. And moving to our last point, which is a big misconception that people have, that if you are an extrovert, you will make a successful HR. That's a huge lie. Because if you are on extreme edge of being an extrovert, then it's very likely that you're not able to hold information to just yourself. You have this tendency of leaking the information out to other people, even if it is not relevant to them. Then in that case, you'll make a very horrible HR. And even if you start your career thinking that I have all of the capabilities, but you'll find yourself being miserable and being stuck in situations where you do not know what to do, and you'll be blamed for every single breach of the policy or the information leakage. And here, contrary to the belief, introverts make a great HR person, because HR people have lot of information, have lot of visibility through the information which floats from the top management, that if they start telling all that information to the employees, it can create a lot of chaos. So HR has to act as a partner to the business, to the management, and they cannot afford to leak out the sensitive information. This is the last thing that you want to do as a HR. I mean, you cannot afford to do that. It will have a very negative impact on your career. So guys, these were the important skills that one must have to be a successful HR. Now, you can, to begin with, you might have like 3-4 of them and you're still working on other 2. That's totally fine. Even if you have none of them, but you are determined enough that you'll put effort and you will scale up to that level of expectation that this profession has, then nothing to worry. You can very easily scale up and can have a successful career. A lot of people learn on the job. When they start, they change themselves according to the job and they get used to those things, and then they develop their skills accordingly. If you are up to that, that's totally fine. But if you have no intention of changing your personality, if you want to have a job which aligns with your personality, then good for you. I mean, by all means, you should opt that, but then HR is not for you. So guys, I really hope you derived some value out of today's conversation. And if you still have queries around HR career, you can leave those queries in the comment section. I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. With that, I'm signing off. You keep on watching to be a successful HR, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, stay safe and healthy. Take care. Bye.